Hi, I'm Alan White, CEO of Arriello.
Hi, and I'm Anna Lukyanova. I am the COO of Arriello.
So today we're going to talk a little bit about the growth of consolidation in outsourced services and some of the things that pharmaceutical companies should consider. Anna, it's an interesting time, isn't it? There's a lot more, from my perspective anyway, consolidation in companies trying to outsource services. What are you seeing?
So from my perspective, and we've also seen that there is a rise of outsourcing and rise of consolidation where a global company actually taking non-core work from their affiliates around the globe and actually trying to put under one roof of one vendor or service provider.
Yeah.
So, Alan, from your perspective, for instance, why companies try to outsource and consolidate?
Yeah, I think in the past outsourcing was about, can we save money? I think outsourcing now is much more about how do we take a group of different services or countries, for example, and basically say we're not the experts in these, or we don't necessarily have the resource to manage these particular activities. Why don't we group them together and give them to a partner to manage them professionally, and maybe also save some costs in the process? And that's what I've seen more and more of this coming through.
Right.
But it also brings some challenges as well, because how do companies choose a partner for maybe a quite diverse set of services that they want to consolidate into one outsourced package?
Yeah, so for instance, what do companies need to consider when they outsource a package of services or, for example, one geographical territory? So from your perspective, what are those things that they need to think about?
Well, they need to think about capability of the vendor, obviously, first and foremost. And the way that they do that is typically through an RFI process and an RFP process and eventually bid defences. I think the things I would really argue strongly should be really considered carefully is when you're talking to a vendor, are they really challenging you on what you're saying? Not challenging to be argumentative, but to make sure that they understand fully what you want to do, and also you understand fully what you're getting involved with, because outsourcing doesn't just mean, sort of wiping your hands free and letting go. And then the second thing is about cost, I think. When it's costed, is it costed correctly? And have you got the understanding to be able to challenge those costs that are being provided by the vendors? And are the vendors really giving you costs that are really serious and realistic, not just for today, but 6 months, 2 years down the line, if you like, so you're not in this sort of change order situation that everybody hates. So they're the things I'm seeing as the main sort of things to consider.
Okay.
And what about yourself? What else would you say?
No, I'd probably say the same. So the things that the companies need to consider, it's them going through the right process to choose the right vendor. But most importantly, as you've noted as well, is that vendor, they need to be an expert in the services they provide. So because a company doesn't want to see the second outsourcing or partnering with another vendor, for example.
Yeah.
I mean, we're usually very honest with the company. So if there's a package of services that's outsourced, we will do what we actually focus on, what's our core business, and then we'll introduce another partner. But what we've seen before, for example, in the case of distributors, for example, they do take everything under the umbrella, but then they outsource and double outsource to another vendor in a certain territory or country. And then the pharma company actually loses the governance and the control, and most important, the quality of the service that's being provided to them.
Yeah, I think just to conclude, I think that governance piece is actually really important, because what you're looking for is you can't outsource and just say that that's finished now. Actually, both the partner, the vendor, and also the pharma company need to work in collaboration, and it's something that has to be an ongoing activity as well. So you can certainly get rid of the majority of activities, but you need to have that conversation, that governance, and maybe that project changes over time, and having that vendor that's really flexible and able to understand that and work with that, I think, is key.
Correct. Yeah, and what I think important element is that the vendor or the potential vendor would also need to question and challenge the client about the outsourcing process, or the things actually the client wants to outsource. It's just they have it on their list, the activities they need to outsource, but how, when, and at which capacity they would need to be done, they may not think about it. And so I think the vendor that the company potentially want to choose, it needs to be a partner who is holding their hand and actually guiding them through this process.
Oh, it's been interesting. I think there's obviously a lot of challenges out there, and getting it right, it's not easy, but just make sure that you're challenging your vendor to give you good answers, and make sure that they're ready now and in the future for the project.
All right. Well, thank you.
Yeah, likewise.
Thank you for the discussion.
Yeah, thank you.